The Spectre's once glorious form was reduced to a shadow of itself. His towering, radiant presence was gone, and in its place, a weakened figure stood, no longer the divine embodiment of vengeance, but a mere mortal, trembling under the weight of the anti-life equation. Welcome back to this epic saga. This video is the second part of the story we began yesterday, continuing the intense battle between Spectre and Darkseid. If you missed the first part, don't worry. You can find the link in the description to watch it and catch up on how this incredible journey unfolded. Now prepare yourself as the story takes a darker turn, exploring themes of redemption, resilience, and the unyielding power of justice. Let's dive in.
Are you just watching?
Subscribe, please.
Spectre, once a towering embodiment of divine judgment, now crouched in the dark, suffocating dungeons of Apokolips. His celestial green flames, once an unrelenting symbol of wrath, had been extinguished. Stripped of his power, he was a shadow of his former self, pale, hollow, and weighed down by chains forged from the essence of the anti-life equation. Darkseid had ensured that his greatest prize would not merely be defeated, but subjugated. The dungeons of Apokolips were a living nightmare. The air reeked of despair, every breath a reminder of the souls crushed beneath Darkseid's rule. The Spectre, bound in a state between mortality and immortality, felt pain for the first time in eons. It gnawed at his resolve, his once indomitable, will now a flickering ember. The walls of his cell seemed alive, whispering mockeries of his fall. Where is your justice now? Darkseid himself visited frequently, not to gloat, but to ensure his triumph was absolute. Each visit was a reminder of the Spectre's new role, not an agent of the presence, but a slave to the will of the god of tyranny. You are mine now, Darkseid declared during one of his visits, his voice a deep, malevolent rumble. Justice is dead, and you shall serve its grave. The Spectre's torment extended beyond the physical. He was forced to witness atrocities across the cosmos. Through the mind of Darkseid, cities crumbled, civilizations were enslaved, and the anti-life equation spread like a plague, erasing hope from every corner of existence. Each vision tore at his spirit, a cruel reminder of his failure to stop the destruction. Yet, in the depths of this despair, a whisper found him, a faint glimmer in the void. It was not the mocking voice of Apokolips, but something purer, something that felt alive. At first, the Spectre dismissed it as a fragment of his fractured mind. But as the days passed, the whispers grew louder, their presence undeniable. One fateful night, when the dungeons were at their quietest, a figure emerged from the shadows. Cloaked in shimmering light that seemed immune to the oppressive darkness of Apokolips, the being approached the Spectre with reverence. "I am a servant of the presence," the figure said, its voice neither male nor female, but resonant and divine. "I have come to restore what was lost." The Spectre, skeptical and broken, managed a feeble reply. "I am beyond redemption. I failed my purpose. What more can the presence demand of me?" The figure knelt, placing a hand on the Spectre's dimmed form. "The presence does not abandon its own. Your fall was not the end, but a test. You are not vengeance, you are justice. And justice must rise again." The being began its work, breaking the chains of the anti-life equation with celestial tools. Each link shattered with a sound like thunder, and with each break, a fragment of the Spectre's strength returned. Yet, it was not a mere restoration of power. The Spectre felt something deeper, a reconnection to the presence that went beyond raw might. It was as if he was being remade, not as an agent of wrath, but as a force of balance. The process was agonizing. The chains fought back, embedding the essence of Darkseid's will into the Spectre's soul. For hours, the being battled the remnants of the anti-life equation, its light clashing with the darkness that had consumed the Spectre. Finally, with one final surge of divine energy, the chains disintegrated, leaving the Spectre free but trembling. The being stepped back, its light dimming. "You are whole once more, but the road ahead is yours to walk. Darkseid will not fall to brute force. Remember, justice is not about punishment. It is about restoration." The Spectre, his flames now rekindled but more subdued, nodded. He rose, his body still weakened but his spirit unbroken. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, he felt the warmth of purpose. "Darkseid must be stopped," he said, his voice resolute, "not for vengeance, but for the balance of creation." The being faded into the shadows, leaving the Spectre to confront the full weight of his mission. He knew the path ahead would lead him back to Darkseid. This time it would not be a battle of dominance, but of wills. The Spectre stepped out of his cell, his emerald aura glowing faintly in the darkness. The halls of Apokolips trembled as he walked, his presence growing stronger with each step. For the first time, the dungeons of despair felt the touch of hope. Spectre was not yet whole, but he was ready to rise again. Justice was coming, and this time it would not falter.
Are you just watching?
Subscribe, please.
The dark skies above the desolate planet crackled with chaotic energy as the Spectre, now restored and strengthened by his renewed connection to the presence, ascended to Darkseid's throne room. His emerald aura burned brighter with each step, piercing through the oppressive darkness of Darkseid's domain. Every corner of Apokolips seemed to cry out in defiance, but nothing could halt the divine force now surging through the Spectre. Darkseid awaited him. The Lord of Apokolips sat upon his jagged throne, his crimson eyes glowing with malicious anticipation. He had sensed the Spectre's resurgence, yet he showed no sign of fear. "You return," Darkseid said, his voice a deep thunderous rumble. "But even divine justice is no match for the inevitable. You are a fool to face me again." The Spectre's voice rang out like a celestial bell, firm and unyielding. "You speak of inevitability, Darkseid, but you do not understand it. Justice cannot be chained. It rises even from the deepest pits of despair. Today your tyranny ends." The room erupted into chaos as the Spectre charged, his emerald flames clashing with Darkseid's searing Omega effect. The impact of their collision sent shockwaves rippling across Apokolips, shattering entire towers and splitting the ground beneath their feet. This was no ordinary battle. It was a clash of cosmic principles, a war between divine justice and oppressive will. Darkseid, unyielding and unshaken, unleashed his full might. The Omega beams darted through the air, twisting and turning as they sought to obliterate the Spectre. But the divine agent moved with precision, deflecting the beams with his renewed strength. Yet Darkseid's power was overwhelming. His strikes carried the weight of countless conquered worlds, and the Spectre found himself pushed to his limits. "Do you see now?" Darkseid growled, driving a crushing blow into the Spectre's chest. "Justice is an illusion. Only power is real, and I hold the ultimate power." The Spectre faltered, his flames dimming under the relentless assault. Darkseid's Omega beams struck him again, sending him crashing to the ground. For a moment it seemed as though the Spectre's light would be extinguished once more. But as Darkseid prepared to deliver the final blow, the Spectre's voice rose, steady and resolute. "Justice is not an illusion, Darkseid. It is the hope of the powerless, the promise of balance, and the judgment of the wicked, and it cannot be destroyed." Summoning the full extent of his restored connection to the presence, the Spectre's form began to shift. His emerald flames grew brighter, more intense, until they became blinding. He rose from the rubble, his presence now towering over Darkseid. The air around him crackled with divine energy, and for the first time, Darkseid took a cautious step back. The Spectre raised his hands, unleashing a torrent of green fire that consumed the throne room. The flames were not mere destruction. They carried the essence of divine judgment, seeking out the evil embedded in Darkseid's very being. The tyrant roared in defiance, his omega beams firing wildly, but they were no match for the sheer force of the Spectre's assault. Yet Darkseid was not defeated easily. With a roar, he summoned the power of the anti-life equation, wielding it as a weapon against the Spectre. The equation's oppressive force bore down on the divine agent, threatening to unravel him once more. The Spectre faltered, his flames flickering under the weight of Darkseid's ultimate weapon. But this time, the Spectre was not alone. The Presence's voice echoed in his mind, a reminder of his purpose. You are more than vengeance, you are justice, and justice always prevails. With renewed strength, the Spectre focused his energy, countering the anti-life equation with the light of the Presence. The clash between these two forces shook the very fabric of reality. But slowly, the Spectre began to gain the upper hand. The flames of justice consumed the darkness of the anti-life equation, breaking its hold on the cosmos. Darkseid, now weakened and enraged, unleashed one final attack, but the Spectre stood firm. With a single decisive strike, he channeled the full power of divine justice into Darkseid, forcing the tyrant to his knees. The throne room fell silent as Darkseid for the first time seemed vulnerable. The Spectre loomed over his foe, his flames dimming slightly. This is not vengeance, Darkseid. It is justice. And justice does not kill, it restores balance. With those words, he banished Darkseid to the farthest reaches of the multiverse, severing his influence over Apokolips and freeing countless souls from his tyranny. But the victory came at a cost. The battle had drained the Spectre, leaving him a shadow of his former self. His connection to the Presence remained, but his immortality was gone. He was now bound by mortality, his divine form diminished.